Good morning and welcome to this conference, and welcome to sort of Solihull and also the wider combined authority of the West Midlands. When I was asked to do this speech, it was the sort of task set was actually why collaborate to develop smart cities. And first of all, I think one of my issues was actually what are we trying to achieve? Are we actually trying to achieve smart cities, or actually smart the approach that we need to adopt to actually deliver prosperous cities, inclusive cities, livable cities? And I think actually smart is the approach, sustainability are the pillars, and the whole system, whole place approach is what actually then builds in our resilience. So actually in the way that we think of our cities, the way that we engage with our cities, we need to change. And the whole place, whole system will actually drive that change and secure the impact. Historical approaches on low carbon have been too many pilots, too many projects, and not actually understanding the broader context and the system's potential that we can actually accelerate. The word collaboration has almost overtaken the word partnership, and I think when we actually talk about collaboration, we first of all actually have to understand why we do it. And one of my sort of little sayings is the only certainty we currently have is uncertainty, and actually through knowledge exchange, developing shared understanding, we actually share risk. We actually can innovate and be much more accelerate some of the progress and some of the different ways of working because we do things differently. To do that, though, actually changes for all of us the way that we behave. People will say about local government that procurement is the death of innovation. I would also say that intellectual property rights and commercial confidentiality are the death of actually truly sharing knowledge and understanding. So we have to find new ways where actually we truly do talk about open data, we truly do talk about shared knowledge flows. So in terms of the Birmingham context, to be perfectly honest, just the point that David made, developing a low-carbon economy is a no-brainer for us. It will accelerate our skills and our employment pathways. It fits the manufacturing history of my city. It also means that we can develop our broader well-being agenda. We are using parks, we're using our natural spaces to actually encourage more active citizens. For me, however, one of the critical things when we talk about collaboration, we talk about low carbon, is making it real and relevant to my citizens. I mean, I'm a politician. I need to make things relevant to the people who elect me. But one of the things for me is if I'm the mum who's having to choose between food and fuel, actually, no matter how many times they talk about COP21 this week, what is happening on that Pacific island really does not matter to me. What I can actually give my children for tea, or whether they will be cold in bed tonight, is what will actually matter to me. And to me, when we talk about collaboration and we talk about engaging with citizens, we have to get better at talking about co-benefits. The fact that we can address fuel poverty, 1 in 5 people in my city are actually living in fuel poverty. Air pollution is the public health scandal of this century. Our prosperity, our growth and our investment in cars has actually meant our children do not have the right to clean air. We have to actually develop approaches and responses that address that. In Birmingham, we are working very closely across all sectors, and we have developed a Green Commission, and I'm very grateful to all my partners and indeed the officers who've been at the forefront of that. And I will first of all make my one and only political point. The 70% of our low carbon target is actually dependent upon government action. The actions of this government over the last few months and its total irresponsibility towards new and emerging industry is a scandal, and it will actually only increase uncertainty and increase the risk of actually this city, this country, being at risk of climate change. We have to convince the government the co-benefits, the economic sense of actually investing in low carbon. The economic, social and environmental argument fits. They've just got to understand it. So, moving on to energy and what we're doing. 1.3 billion is lost in revenue to my city each year as energy is sourced from other areas. We have worked very closely and developed with Coakley and other partners a Birmingham District Energy Scheme. I'm really pleased when we look at New Street Station and everyone says what a fantastic building, what a change. Actually, it's a fantastic building. It's also sustainable. It's also going to be linked to our district heating scheme, and it's also going to actually ensure that when we build HS2 out, when we build and develop our campus around BCU, around the new Unite building, that we will be able to extend out our district heating scheme, so the district energy scheme. So this will mean that we are actually developing a heat network and a heat map within our city. £14 million invested already, £72 million potential within Birmingham. In terms of energy, we also have to look at what resources are available, and I notice a colleague from APSI at the back. Waste is actually a fantastic resource. We've got to stop thinking of rubbish as a problem. Actually, waste is part of our resource. Citizens in my city create too much. In 2019, I became the proud owner of Tyseley Incinerator, and I already have responsibility for a waste collection service. We can actually look at waste and look at how we can use it differently, how we can sweat that acid to actually deliver some of those issues. So where I have problems in inner city areas with food waste, I can actually start to think about AD plants and how I can actually develop those localised energy systems. So waste is a resource, and it's a resource the citizens own. If you want to develop mutual approaches, look at how you build upon waste, which is something that we have as a common ownership. 40% of our low carbon is tied up within commercial and industrial. And one of the things that we're really pleased to be working on at the moment with the World Business Council for Sustainable Development, I got it right, I usually get it wrong, is a low emission, city low emission project. And we're working at Smithfield, the new city centre development adjacent to the Bullring and New Street, where we are starting now at the planning stage working with EC Harris, Schreider, others, to see how we can actually make it stack for that to be a truly zero carbon development. And our ambition is we make it stack in that place, and when we look at the urban extensions and various other things, we will be able to build those principles in. 21% of our carbon output is down to transport, and clearly, again, David referred to the fact our cities are growing. This city, Birmingham, is due to have a growth of 150,000 over the next 5-10 years. That potentially means 80,000 cars if we carry on as we are. In my ward, the main high street and the main 435 arterial corridor running through was built for a horse and cart, and it has not changed since the day it was built for the horse and cart. It is now home to the busiest bus route in Europe and HGVs that go through to serve the various retail outlets. We cannot continue to put cars and vehicles on our roads in the way that we're doing. There's the clean air issue, there's the gridlock issue, there's the economic issue. It does not pay to use our roads. One thing we've tried to do is to look at, again, our natural assets, our green corridors, our canals, our rivers. Fantastic example over here that we're doing with our Cycle Revolution, £60 million worth of investment, is we're linking up the airport, Hatchbrooks Close, Sheldon Park, so that North Solihull, this side of Birmingham, will actually have a cycle route that links them in then to the city centre. That will actually mean for some of the more deprived communities within Solihull, some of our deprived communities, there will be a means of getting to work. And even better, as part of our cycle revolution, we went one step further than Trickett, and we didn't just tell unemployed people to get on their bike, we've given them their bikes. 3,000 people have had free bikes in this city. And that will actually mean by extending the cycle routes to employment nodes, we are sure that we are connecting people up. Again, connecting people up to places of work, the university, the hospital, major growth areas, major congestion. Anyone who's tried to get to the QE, total nightmare. We are now working with the University of Birmingham, the hospital. The chair of the hospital is chairing a green travel district, and that will actually start to look at that last mile. How do we reduce the last mile? How do we ensure that gridlock is not around the university? So very much, again, what our approaches are is to collaborate, but to collaborate where we can actually prove benefit to the citizens now. Because when I am cutting millions from a budget, unless I can prove value for my citizens now, I have no right to do it. So, in conclusion, is Birmingham up for a low-carbon economy? Are we up for change? Yes, we are. Are we prepared to change our behaviour and work differently with the private sectors and with the universities and others? Yes, we are, if you are. It takes all of us to change. Collaboration is about co-benefits for all of us. And very much what I'd really like to just finish with is, I hope you have a really good conference, and I very much hope that out of this builds more opportunities for collaboration and co-creation of co-benefits for my citizens. Thank you.